Hello. Good to see this great crowd. This is a wonderful crowd this afternoon, and thank you for being flexible and coming an hour later. We so appreciate it, and I know you're going to enjoy the program. A couple of quick things. Please silence your cell phones and put those up. You don't need them for the next hour or so. Also, if you're here for extra credit, I will have the QR code for you to scan up here at the stage once the program is completed this afternoon. Okay? I think that's it. So before we get started, I just wanted to read a little bit about our guest speaker today, and then of course you'll hear more from him about him and his life story in just a moment. In 1961, Hezekiah Watkins was arrested at the Greyhound bus station in Jackson, Mississippi at the age of 13, where he was sent in a paddy wagon to Mississippi State Penitentiary, known as Parchman Penitentiary, and placed on death row. His crime was allegedly participating with a group known as the Freedom Riders, who had embarked on a journey from Washington, D.C. to New Orleans to push for equal rights for African Americans, while also desegregating bus terminals throughout the South. After spending 5 days at Parchman, Hezekiah's life would forever be changed. He would continue his involvement in Mississippi's fight for equality, resulting with him being arrested over 100 times more in the years to follow. These experiences guided him along the path to focus on improving the quality of life for African Americans everywhere, eventually resulting in Hezekiah's recognition by the 112th Congress of the United States for his service to Mississippi and to mankind. Pushing Forward tells the story of a young man who became a grown-up overnight and whose life continues to focus on serving a much greater cause. So I've spoken with Hezekiah several times over the phone in the planning of this event, and I can just tell you that he's a delightful person, and we are so glad to have him here on the campus of Northeast. So if you would please welcome Hezekiah Watkins to the stage.
To the president of this college, administrators, teachers, students, friends, and guests. Good afternoon. As was stated, my name is Hezekiah Watkins. Was arrested at a tender age of 13 in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, I was not a freedom rider at 13. I was just a country boy trying to navigate my way through the city of Jackson. You see, there was so much hatred, so much racism, so much bigotry that was going on. And I can't leave out the other things that was happening. And one of them was knowing your place as black. There was places that we could not go. And there was things that we could not do. But I made it. My brother made it. My friends made it. My relatives made it. It just depends on what you want from yourself. Depending on what you want to do. And if you can set out to do those things, I think you can achieve those things. Let me tell you a little bit about my journey. My journey, as stated, started at 13 years of age in Jackson, Mississippi. I stated earlier that I was not a freedom rider. I was a little boy watching television. I loved watching cartoons. And this particular day, I'm watching cartoons and I fall asleep. But I was awakened with the national news on. And the national news was talking about the Freedom Riders. I didn't know anything about the Freedom Riders. And then they began showing the Freedom Riders being beaten. And I'm saying to myself, what is this? Never seen anything like this on the news, but I very seldom watch the news. So I'm watching the beating, the kicking, the spitting in faces, all kinds of unnatural behavior was going on. And the news goes off. So I'm sitting there wondering, what is this? So I decided to run next door to get my friend who was also 13. But the difference in my being 13 and he being 13, he was considered the smartest guy in the neighborhood. You know, you might hear folks say, oh, he's so smart, or she's so smart. My mom used to say, why don't you be like Troy? He's so smart. But come to find out, Troy wasn't smart at all. Troy could lie well. And that's how he got over on all of us, by lying. But nevertheless, I go and tell Troy, man, tomorrow will you come to my house? He said, for what? I said, I need you to watch the news with me. Ah! Man, you got to be out of your mind. The news. I said, man, this is not the regular news. This is totally different news. News that we could use in our life. He said, man, what you know about life? You don't know anything about life. I said, man, you just need to come and watch the news. I'll stay over here and watch it with you. Now, my mom would be watching them old stories. And I said, okay. He said, well, I'll come over for a minute. And he did. And the news came on. It was just like the previous day. The same, it appears to be the same story, but it was a different one. Just the same action. So we looking, and Troy being so smart, he didn't know what was happening. So when the news goes off, he's questioning me about what we just witnessed. Why were they doing this? Why did they do that? Who are they? What are they doing? So I don't know, man. That's why I brought you over here. You the smartest one. He said, man, I don't know anything about this. This is beyond me. I said, okay. He said, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to be back tomorrow because it's interesting. I said, why is it so interesting? I've never seen white folks get beaten like that. I said, you know, you're right. I hadn't thought of that. Not have I. Everybody was being beaten. Black, white, male, female, children. They were just being beaten for no reason. It appeared to be no reason. So the next day, Troy's back at my house, and we watching TV again. And this went on and on and on. And it went on some more for about a couple of months. For about a couple of months had passed by, and we know all there is to know about the Freedom Riders. By now, the Freedom Riders are our heroes and sheroes. And the more we watched them, the more we wanted to be like them. But we didn't want to go to jail. We didn't want to be beaten. But we really didn't know their mission. But we knew it was something good. I'm sitting at home one day and Troy come over. Who is it, Troy? Come in. Man, I got some news for you. It's too early in the morning. What kind of news do you have? He said, well, man, you need to stand and clap your hands, sing, jump up and down. I said, no, it's not going to happen. And I tell you what I got. You jump up and down. I said, no, I'm not going to jump up. He said, well, just stand. I said, okay. He said, clap your hand, huh? And clap your hand with some rhythm. No, that's not it. I said, man, I don't know what you're looking for. He said, that's okay, I'll do it. But I need you to sing with me. I said, okay, I don't have a problem with doing that. I can sing with you. He said, you ready? I said, I'm ready. You ready? Oh, here we go again. And I told you I'm ready. So come on, what's the name of your song? He said, just listen. I said, okay. You ready? You ask me, am I ready again? I'm going to put you out my house. I said, I'm ready. He said, okay. He said, I'm going to sing with you. If I know what you're singing, he said, you would know, you would catch on. I said, okay, come on. He said, you ready? I'm ready. Don't ask me again. He said, okay. The Freedom Riders coming to Jackson. They coming to Jackson. The Freedom Riders coming to Jackson. I said, hold up. What Jackson are you talking about? He said, what Jackson do you stay in? I said, I stay in this Jackson here. He said, that's what I'm talking about. The Freedom Riders coming to Jackson. And I was so excited, we began walking around the table. The Freedom Riders coming to Jackson. They're coming to Jackson. And man, we were just so excited. The Freedom Rider was on their way to Jackson, Mississippi. My thing was, I'm going to go see them so I can say, hey, y'all, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you are doing. Thank you. And if I got close enough, I'll shake her hand. I said, when are they coming, man? When are they coming? He said, they're going to be here Sunday. This Sunday? This Sunday. Wow, man. I sure would like to go. I said, me too. But how can we get out of the house to go to the Greyhound bus station? He said, I don't know, man, because I know your mama. She ain't gonna let you go to the bathroom by yourself. And I replied, man, your mama's the same way. But we need to figure out a way. So, okay, so we sat and we began to strategize. And we're trying to figure out how could we slip away from church, because we'll be in church. Man, what we could do, we'll go to Sunday school and stay for the morning service and play around and stay there for the evening service. And once old boy, that's what we call the pastor. Not in front of him, but behind his back. You know how we have names that we call individuals? We all have names that we don't know we are being called. So when old boy get up to preach, we'll get our mother attention, and then we'll go to the bus station. So we line our bicycles up at the church before we went in there. So it's about time for old boy to get up and preach. And when he got up, I'm trying to find my mother. Oh, there she is. My mom is acting as though she doesn't see me. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And my mom finally bowed her head. By bowing her head was an indication of yes, okay. So I went out to church and Troy looking for his mother. She didn't waste no time. Troy left, and we went on the outside and grabbed our bicycles and we headed down Lamar Street. But the bus said we didn't live far from Lamar, nor was the church far from Lamar. So we headed down Lamar, where the Greyhound bus station was located. So we get there and no one is there. So I'm asking Troy, you sure this is the right date and time? He said, yeah, that's what I was told. So we're just walking around being nosy, like 13-year-old boys would do. Trying to peep in to see what we could see, which was nothing. So Troy decided to push me inside of the bus station. Now, it wasn't a big push. The push, I could have prevented it if I had wanted to. But there was something in me that told me to go ahead. So I'm inside of the Greyhound bus station, and I'm looking around, seeing what I could see, just like a boy from Mississippi in New York City. Just looking up. So I'm seeing all the lights and other things. There are several games that they had in there. So my eyes gazed to a sign, and the sign read, "Whites only." So, I started looking for the door. I was pushed in. It's time for me to get out of here. So I'm trying to ease over to the door to get on the sidewalk where I thought I would be safe. So that old right foot is on the sidewalk, but the left one just wouldn't come along. There was an officer who came up and detained me and asked me, "Why are you in here, boy?" And I replied, "My friend out there, officer, pushed me in." "What friend?" "He's on the outside." "On the outside where?" I said, "Out there." So he caught me by my wrist with a firm grip, led me on the outside, and said, "Where?" I looked to my left. There was no Troy. my right, there was no Troy. He said, I knew you was lying. Come on. Snatched me and almost was dragging me to a back room. We get to the back room and he said, what's your name? I said, Hezekiah Watkins. Spell it. I spelled it. Slow down. You're going too fast, boy. I slowed. He said, where were you going? Sir, you heard me. Where were you going? And I'm not sure what to tell this man, so I told him the truth. I said, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You was born where? In Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's what I thought. Got on this radio and says, send another one around. I didn't know what another one he was talking about, but he was speaking of a paddy wagon or a transport vehicle. And that vehicle came around the front of the bus station. They put handcuffs on me, put me in the back, and they drove off. And they drove, just like the day comes here. I drove, and drove. And I drove some more. It was reminded me of when I went to Parchman. But I didn't know where I was going. We stopped at this old building. I didn't know it was a prison. I saw the wire on top. I saw the guard houses up top. But I didn't know nothing about no prison or guard houses or wire or anything else. But it was there. They locked me up. But they locked me up with others. Other inmates. Inmates who was there for a reason, a violent crime they had committed. And they get up early in the morning. And they waking me up. What's your name? I told them. Where you from? I'm trying to debate now. I said, Jackson. Jackson. What you do? Nothing. Everybody in here didn't do nothing. See that man there? He shot a man 5 times. But he told the judge, I didn't do nothing. See that man over there? He cut a man's head off with an axe. You know what he told the judge? I didn't do nothing. So what did you do? I didn't do nothing. Come on, you with us now. You with your own folks. Tell us, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. No, they're not going to bring you here just for anything. You either murdered. I know what you did. You killed a white man. I said, man, I ain't killed nobody. I'm 13 years old. Doesn't matter. They gonna kill your blanket to blank anyway. Keep them in. You gonna die. Do you know what the death quibble is? I said, no, I don't. The death quibble is when you start foaming at the mouth and stuff just starts running all out, yellow, green, red, different colors. Your eyes pop out, your tongue hang out, and they got you. What's your lawyer saying? No. What's your attorney saying? I said, attorney? Yes, your attorney. What is he saying? Nothing. Your attorney not saying anything? Who's your attorney? I said, I don't have an attorney. Man, you got to have a lawyer. I said, oh yeah, a lawyer? Perry Mason is my lawyer. Oh yeah, we got a smart here. I'm gonna see you gonna be that smart when you are going to die, when they take you to the chair. I said, well, I didn't have a lawyer, man. They just put you on death row without a lawyer. I was picked up at the bus station and I was brought here. That's all I can tell you guys. Okay. I was there for, I thought it was 5 days. Parchman had some type of celebration for the Freedom Riders last year, and I had decided not to go, but one of my co-workers at the last minute persuaded me to go, and I went. I hate went, but I'm glad I went, because I thought I was there for 5 days. After looking at the records, come to find out, I was there for 13 days. You know, time will leave you when you're in certain situations. And I had never thought that I was there for 13 days. But we had a president named John F. Kennedy, and his brother was named Robert, who was a U.S. attorney. Those two got me released from Parchman prison. And I'm so thankful to them. I wish I could tell them in person how I felt then and how I feel now. I did get a chance to talk to Robert, the Attorney General's daughter, who came to Jackson, Mississippi to visit the Civil Rights Museum. And I had a one-on-one, and I'm trying to find out from her, could she help me with my story. And she vaguely remembered most of the things that I just mentioned to you, but she didn't know my name, but she vaguely remembered the incident. She stated that there were so many incidents, whereas her father and uncle had to intervene. They keep individuals from dying. And we had a very good close talk, and I was so appreciative of the time that was given to me by her. There's some things that you never forget, and that's one of them. But anyway, they bring me back to Jackson. They is the Parchman prison official, and they released me to the Jackson Police Department. Well, during the time I was missing, my mother tried to get help from the police department in terms of looking for me. But they told my mother up front, there's no need of looking for that boy, because I know where he is. Well, my mom said, where? He's probably in Chicago or Detroit. If he's not in one of those two places, then your son is dead. So my mom is thinking, well, my son is dead. Because I know he's not in Detroit. I know he's not in Chicago. So when they brought me back to Jackson, they called my mother and told her, you need to get down here to the Jackson Police Department right away. Like now. So my mom said, okay. So now she's thinking, well, they have found my son. And they want me to come and identify his remains. But I'm not going to tell a soul. Her sister, brothers, cousins, others, relatives. She wanted to go to the police department and have some me time with me. So I'm standing in a small room at the police department and I am handcuffed behind my back. My mother walked through the door. And when she walked through and spot me standing, you talking about a revival? It was on. My mother began yelling, "Oh, thank the Lord, thank you, Jesus. That's my baby." And she began running in my direction. I'm saying to myself, if she doesn't slow down, she's going to knock me over. But it was too late. My mom flew me right there. And she fell on top of me. She's crying and hollering. I don't know what you were saying. But she's asking questions that I can't answer. And the reason I can't answer, there's another one. And another one. And another one. She just kept asking questions. Kept asking questions. So the police officers that was in the room had to come over and pick my mother up off me. And they had to pick me up as well because by being handcuffed, I could not press myself up. So they told my mother, you need to make sure that he doesn't do this again. Because if he does, we're not going to let him out. And my mom said, well, you ain't got to worry about that. He's not going to do it again. I promise you. And I'm thinking, you're right. I just want to go home. So we get in the old car, and my mom is driving, and she got me just choked up. Her right hand just choking me and rocking. And she's still driving. Baby, you all right? Did they feed you? Did they hurt you? Where you been? Before I could answer her, before I could even stop with a what's this knot on your head? A gash here. It was like that all the way home. But the closer I got home, the better I felt. Because I'm seeing scenery I hadn't seen in a while. So we get home, my mom jump out the car. I'm still sitting in the car just trying to digest my being home and what I've been through. So my mom looked back at me and said, get out of the car. I kind of noticed that voice was kind of heavy, kind of thick. She said, did you hear me? I said, get out of the car. Yeah, okay. I'm still sitting there. Because I want to make sure when I get out the car, all my little friends is surrounding the porch, the car, the yard. But I got to be very careful what I tell them. So my mom looked back, boy, you must didn't hear me. And my mother was a religious person. When I say religious, she was all the way religious. I've never heard her use a curse word in my life. I'm not saying that she didn't, but I never did hear her use a curse word. But my mom looked back again and said, boy, if I tell you again, I'm going to whoop your so-and-so and so-and-so, so-and-so. I said, get out of the car right now. My mother had never talked to me like that before. I'm scared. Because I'm thinking something is wrong with her. So I said, yes, ma'am. So she could hear me. So I began getting out of the car. She said, I'm talking about now. I said, I'm trying to get out now. So I get out and I'm walking up the steps, and she said, get your so-and-so in the house. And once you get in the house, drop them. I've never had to drop my clothes. I have two older brothers. Well, they had to drop theirs, but I never had to drop mine. So I'm crying already now. But I'm saying to myself, this woman, I'm saying woman because I never would say that to my mother, or she could hear me. This woman don't know what I've been through. And she telling me to drop them. I did. I went in and out about it. You was in trouble. That's why I never had to drop them. Until this day. That's the way I was beaten. That's the way I was raised. I didn't leave the house until September. And the reason I left in September was because school starts in September. And it was a must. First day school is out, I met a man named James Bevel. Mr. Bevel was a civil rights activist in Jackson. And he walked up to me and said, Mr. Watkins, I need to talk with you. You know, we were still under that, if I don't know you, don't talk to you. So I kept walking. He kept hollering my name. So I finally stopped. So what you want? He said, I need you. You need me for what? I need you to help me recruit other kids and help us do some fundraising. Fundraising and recruit us on what? What are you talking about? He said, man, you've been through the baddest time that a person could go through by going to Parchman. You could help us recruit kids based on that. You could help us raise money based on that. And I looked at him, I said, not I. You don't want me. You have the wrong person. It would mean so much to the movement. I said, man, I ain't thinking about you. And I use the curse word, y'all can use it today. But I told him you could take your movement and anything else and shut it. Because I don't want no part of your movement or anybody else's movement. But why? You'd be the ideal person. And I began unbuttoning my shirt where I got enough buttons open where I could pull my shirt back. And I showed him the scars. And he asked me, man, did that happen in Parchman? I said, no. Well, what happened? This is what my mother did. your mother beat you like that? I looked at him, I said, yeah, so what? What you gonna do about it? My mama can beat me anytime she feel like it. Now why don't you get the hell away from around me? He said, okay, he left. I got mad at him for trying to make fun of my mother for beating me. But a few months later, he came back, and we sat down, and we began talking about what was really happening to black folks in Jackson. We went to the library, and he was asking me about, do you read? I said, I read sometimes, comic book, homework. That's it. He said, do you read current events? What's current event? What are you talking about? Things that's happening around you. Things that is affecting you and your family. Man, nothing affecting my family. He said, think about it. And he began talking. And talking. And the more he talked, the more I understood. But there was one thing he touched on, was my tax dollars. And I told him, I don't pay taxes. I don't have no tax dollars. He said, you do. He said, that's why the street you live on is gravel. Because you've been looked over. You know, I told you I lived near Lamar. Lamar was the dividing point where whites lived on the east of Lamar and blacks was on the west of Lamar. And all of the whites' streets was paved. And he asked me why. I told him I didn't know. That's where your tax dollars come. He said, you could be able to skate in front of your house. And I love skating. I said, for real? Yeah. Okay, I think about it. So I went home and I knew my mom what she was going to say, but I had to give her the courtesy of asking and letting her say no. And I told my mother that I was just sick and tired of the way she was being treated by whites. She said, what you mean, baby? I said, they always calling you gal. They call you girl. They call you mama. They call you anything. And it doesn't bother you. I said, it bothers me. Oh, boy, don't leave that alone. They've been calling me that all my life. Maybe so. But I'm tired. That's not your name. I would rather for them to call you your name than to call you gal, girl, or whatever. And my mom said, hold up now, you stepping too tall. You talking about stuff that doesn't even concern you. This has been going on for a lifetime. That's what I'm tired of going on. If it go on again, if I hear a white man call you gal again, you gonna do what? I don't know, but I'm gonna do something. My mom sat me down and she said, you remember when I told you about Emmett Till? I said, yes. and how Emmett Till told his mother, I'm a big boy, I'm going to Mississippi, I can take care of myself. I said, yeah. And you know what happened? Yeah. I don't want the same thing to happen to you. I said, it won't. She said, I know it won't, because I'm not going to allow you to go. I said, but I want to. She said, well, we want to do a lot of things, but we can't. I said, but if you don't allow me to go, can I go to some of the meetings? She said, well, I guess you can do that. And I began going to some meetings. And there was an A&P grocery store that was in the midst of the black community. But the manager would not hire blacks. And Mr. Bevel and I went to the manager and asked the question, why you don't hire blacks? He said, oh, that's easy. They can't count. So since they can't count, I don't worry about hiring them. Mr. Bevel stated, if you don't hire some blacks in here, we're going to boycott you. Well, you do what you think is best. We bought some black shoe polish from his store, went around the back and got some cardboard boxes and go to my shop here. And the next morning, we was out walking around with signs saying, don't shop this store. I was arrested, but by noon I was released. Oh, my mama never know about this. So I went back after being released, got another sign, started walking, got arrested. By 6 o'clock, I'm out. Well, I've been arrested twice today. My mama never knew about this. When my mama finally heard about my being arrested, she was losing her job based on my activity with the Freedom Riders. They had taken my name, published it in the paper, and the employer saw not only your name, they had your mother's name, where you live, and all of these things. And my mom came home, she was furious. But we finally have done it. I lost my job. And I didn't know what to say, nothing for me to do. I cried, we both cried together. And within minutes, my mom got over it. She said, I get another job. Well, I got this one. And she did. And she told me, baby, whatever you want to do, just do it. I'm behind you 100%. I went on to be arrested 109 times. Becoming the youngest freedom rider at the age of 13 and having the most arrests in Mississippi of 109. And I'm so proud to stand before you today and tell you that at the tender age of 77, have had to be. I can do all of those arrests right now, except for one. And that would be the initial arrest where I went to the state prison. Now, in closing, I know you all took in what I said, both of you did. And if you did, you might be asking yourself, well, those things happened to you years ago. There's no effect on me now. But I'm here to tell you, if you think in that way, you're wrong. We are under some times now that's getting ready to put us back to the 60s. You don't take my word. This afternoon, turn your local news on. I pick up your daily paper. Watch some TV show, news show. It's going to tell you all of these things are about to change. Our president is changing things by the day. And it's all going to affect you all. See, my time is about over. I thank the Lord for these years that He's given me. But think about maybe your offspring. You might be contemplating marriage. Or you might already have children. Think about those children you already have or might have. The president is talking about cutting out breakfasts, cutting out lunches. And I heard last Thursday, I think, he said, no more holidays. Only going to be one holiday. Anyone know what the holiday is?
His birthday.
I'm sorry?
His birthday.
No, not his birthday, but you close. President Day. That would be the only holiday we're going to observe. Is President Day. Ain't that something? You know, we fought so hard to have a short month of the year for Black History all day. Black History Month. No more Black History. They're trying to cut it out in schools anyway. They don't want you to know the real history. The young man that picked me up and brought me here. Thank you. I want to acknowledge you first. Thank you, sir. He was telling me that he is going into history. And he wanted to kind of crack my brains a little bit so he could have a upward start on history. And I replied, yeah, because if you don't, I don't know where you're going to get it. So this man is not only talking about washing away history, he's talking about the books as well. So you might say, okay, I still pick up a book at the library or someplace, and I can find a little something about history. But he's talking about getting away with those. So what we going to do? You know, we there's one more thing. Bear with me. Heard over the weekend on the news, national news, that the mayor of New York City, I don't know if you all know, he was indicted some time ago. Okay? But the indictment was just washed away. You know why? He told the president, I'm going to help you get rid of these immigrants. And by telling the president that, he's going to drop those charges. You know, this man been accused of breaking the law. And just because he gonna hit the president wash those charges away. Now that's big. We talking about a sitting mayor, a president. But just let's come down a little lower on our level. If someone do something to us, or we do something to them, if we have the money, then we can buy your way out of it. And I ain't talking about a little money. You know, they deal in millions. Not like if your son get a parking ticket or a speeding ticket, you can give the officer a few, I shouldn't say that. But you might be able to convince the officer to tear the ticket out. Might be. But now we're talking millions of dollars that you're going to have to come up with. Whereas the rich is going to keep getting rich. You see, it used to be a black and white thing. No more. It's not about color. That's what we need to realize. But Trump told us before he was elected, we didn't pay any attention. We said, ha, ha. He kept going the way he was going. And he's doing everything that he stated he would do. Right? Okay. In closing, I always like to close with a song. Hope y'all don't mind. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave, and I'll go home to my Lord and be free. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Watkins, real quick, I think we've got time for one or two questions.
Okay.
Just keeping it quick. If anybody in the audience has a question for Mr. Watkins or something that you would like to ask before we head on. Yes, and speak loudly.
Are you willing to maybe get some pictures of people?
What now, ma'am? Sorry.
Pictures?
Pictures of myself
Yeah, like
and you?
if you don't mind.
I would be disappointed if no one took a picture of me.
Question.
What happened to Troy?
Troy lives in, that's a good question, man. Let me just say this before I answer your question, if I may. I used to hate Troy. Seriously, with a passion. The hatred was so intense. But after thinking about what Troy pushed me into, this journey that I took, and the individuals that I met on my way, and the travel that I did as a teenager, was just unbelievable. In meeting Dr. King, walking with him, it didn't mean nothing to me then. I was a young buck. He was just another man. But I didn't know he was the man. Yeah, but Troy's in Chicago, doing well, hopefully. And I did forgive him. I haven't told him. But I forgave him back. But I appreciate what he did. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What was Dr. King like?
He was just like an ordinary person to me at that time because I didn't know. I knew he was Dr. Martin Luther King, but I didn't know he was Dr. Martin Luther King, the man, if I may. I just took him as another man. Mm-hmm. Is there another one? Yes, ma'am. For over 10 years. When my mother lost her job, the black community just shut me out. They turned on me, whereas the kids in the neighborhood would not play with me based on what their parents told them. I'd get them in trouble or this or whatever. So in growing up, the only friends I had was the other Freedom Riders. And I ended up staying with the Freedom Riders for most of this period. And I'm very thankful to them because they helped me through high school and got me in college. There's another one in here somewhere. Yes, sir.
What's it like to look back on it now after years have passed?
That's a good question, sir, because I'm having mixed feelings now. The trauma just kicked in a few years ago from Parchman prison. I'm married. And one morning, I just woke up and kind of found out I was beating my wife unmercifully, just beating her because I thought she was trying to do something to me. Those things began to happen, but it doesn't happen now. I'm taking some meds to kind of slow that down, but mostly I take them to sleep. The other stuff doesn't work. But, I look back at the things that we was able to accomplish, number one. And I'm looking at things now, how they are sliding away from us. All the individuals who died, lost their life, or for us to have the right to vote, for us to have the right to do a lot of things. But the young folks doesn't seem to care. They don't even think about it. They're just out too busy doing their thing. And this is a whole dialogue on this, but I'm saddened when I look back at some of the things that I see. Yes?
What do you think, as young people, what do you think we should do to keep from sliding back into the
Well, sir, that's something that it's a question that should have been asked a long time ago. But it can be corrected. And it's mostly our parents, grandparents. For some reason or reasons, we chose not to raise our kids the way I was raised. For some reason, we want to be friends. I have 3 kids, 5 grandkids, and I beat the hell out of my grandkids, okay? Although their parents, which is my children, disagree, they don't like it, but I'll put them out of my house, because it's my house. But they won't do that. Boy, come over and just take the remote like it's a toy. We couldn't do that when we went to visit. We was given instructions before we went in the house. And you didn't slide away from the instruction that was given. And just to answer your question, parenting is one of the main things. My grandchild, who stayed with me and my wife, just like our child. We had him since day one. And he's in middle school. We had to go to his school. And man, I was so mad with the teacher, with the students, with the school as a whole. How the kids was acting. And the teacher was like, it's okay. It wasn't like that when I was in school. Like I said, it's a whole dialogue on things that has changed and things that have made these children change. Until the parents and grandparents can get a hold on them, then we're going to be like this for a minute.
One more question?
Okay, well, I thank you all very much. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a parent myself, so I guess my question is, you mentioned you spoke about your mom quite a bit, and then what's that one advice, what's that one thing that remains with you till this day as far as what she planted in you and how she supported you?
The upbringing, being a no-nonsense parent, she did not go against the grain. She had her way of raising us. She raised 3 boys without a husband. My father died when I was 7, and she never did remarry. But she did one heck of a job in keeping all of us together. Where we all finished high school, we all finished college. On the backbones of my mom. So I'm very grateful to have had a mother like that. And that's what I said, parenting. You need to get back to the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way, when your kid mess up, spank it. That means spank it. I'm sorry. But we have to spank these kids. We can't put them in time out. We can't take the cell phone from them. We can't take these games from them. It's just for a minute. Put something on them that they can feel, that they can remember. But anyway, thank you all very much. I'll take care of the lady sometime.